Hello everyone, welcome to our Mastering Active Directory course where you will learn the essentials of managing and maintaining an Active Directory environment. If you are an IT professional looking to expand your knowledge and skills in Active Directory administration, this course is for you. In this course, we will learn how to design, implement and manage an Active Directory infrastructure. Whether you are a beginner or an experienced professional, this course provides valuable insight into the world of Active Directory. We'll cover the topics such as group policy management, user and groups management, domain controller management. Enrolling in this course gives you access to all the lessons and hands-on labs where you will get practical experience and learn how to apply your knowledge in real-world scenarios. By the end of this course, you will have knowledge and skills necessary to manage and maintain an Active Directory environment confidently. This course is suitable for anyone who wants to expand their knowledge in Active Directory administration, including IT administrators, network engineers, and system administrators. So we'll see what is operating system. Okay, so to run any device like personal computer, server, mobile phone, we need operating system. Okay, for servers, we need Windows servers operating system, and we can use the Linux operating system. Okay, for mobile phones, we use Android operating system. Okay, so we use this operating system, different operating system, and what is an operating system? Let us try to understand. Okay, we use different operating system for different devices, but what is the use? Let us try to understand what is this operating system. It is a software that acts as a mediator between computer hardware and user. So this is your computer, and let us say this is the user, and this user wants to do something on computer. Let us say he wants to calculate what is 2 plus 2. Okay, so user can't directly communicate with the hardware of the computer because the hardware understands only binary language, which is zeros and ones. Okay, and we don't understand what is zeros and ones, so we need something which translate our language into computer's language. We need operating system here. So it is a software that acts as a mediator between computer hardware and user, and computer hardware understand only binary language, which is zeros and ones, and operating system translates the user instruction into binary numbers and conveys it to hardware. So the request will go to operating system. Operating system will translate your instruction into binary number and it will convey it to the computer. Okay, because computer understands only zeros and ones. This is the mediator, and we have different types of operating systems. Operating systems are divided into two categories. One is client operating system, the other one is server operating system. Let us try to understand the difference between these two operating systems. Client operating system, it is installed on client machines like desktop and laptop. So you will install this client operating system on laptop and desktop, or you can say you will install it on your PCs, personal computers. And what is the use of this client operating system? It is used to obtain the services from server. This client operating system will obtain the services from the server operating system. And we have some examples of client operating system like Windows XP, Windows Vista, Windows 7, Windows 8 and Windows 10, and nowadays we have Windows 11 as well. Okay, so these are the examples of client operating system. And we have server operating system. It is designed to be used on servers. So guys, we have these different hardware servers: tower server, blade server, rack server. So all these servers required operating system. So this server operating system is designed to be installed on these hardware servers. It is designed to be used on servers. It is used to provide the services to multiple clients. So what this server operating system does, it provides the services to client operating system. Okay, and it can serve multiple clients at a time, and it is very advanced operating system. Let us say you have installed a web server. We have installed the server operating system and you have installed this server as web server. Okay, so multiple clients can access this website. Okay, so it is designed, it can serve the multiple clients at a time, and it is very advanced operating system. This is the difference between client operating system and server operating system. We have some server operating system examples like Windows NT 3.1, Windows NT 3.5, Windows NT 4.0, Windows NT 5.0, and later it was renamed as Windows Server 2000. Then we have Windows .NET Server. Again, later it was renamed as Windows Server 2003. Then we have Windows Server 2008, Windows Server 2012, Windows Server 2016, Windows Server 2019, and Windows Server 2022. This is the latest version. And NT stands for new technology, and till Windows NT 4.0, till here, operating systems were developed in C language. After that, from Windows Server 2000, okay, from here, the operating systems are developed using .NET. Windows Server 2022 has 3 editions. First is Essential Edition, Standard Edition, and Data Center Edition. What is Essential Edition? The license is limited to 25 user accounts, which means if you are using Essential Editions, you can create only 25 users. If you are using Standard Edition, you will get the full Windows Server functionality and you can create only 2 virtual machines. If you are using Data Center Edition, again you will get the full Windows Server functionalities. You can create unlimited users with unlimited virtual machines. In this section, we will discuss the Windows Server 2022 features. The first feature is, it is a 64-bit operating system. So you can see it is a 64-bit operating system. Okay, and if the processor is 32-bit, we can't install Windows Server 2022. So we should have the 64-bit processor to install this Windows Server 2022. And 64-bit operating system is faster than 32-bit operating system because it takes 64-bit input and gives 64-bit output, whereas 32-bit operating system takes 32-bit input and it gives 32-bit output. And it provides the advanced multi-layered security. So the new security capabilities in Windows Server 2022 provides in-depth defense protection against advanced threats. So it is having the capability to fight with the advanced threats. Okay, it is providing the security. And advanced multi-layer security in Windows Server 2022 provides the protection that server needs today. So it supports cloud infrastructure as well. So what does it mean it supports cloud infrastructure? So you can take the backup on cloud. Let us say this is your premises. Okay, premises in the sense the devices installed in your organization, in your company. So this is your premises and you can take the backup on cloud. Okay, from your premises you can take the backup on cloud and you can install the primary server on your premises. So let us say you have 2 servers, one primary, one secondary. If primary goes down, secondary will work. So you can install the primary server on premises and secondary server on cloud. So it supports the cloud infrastructure as well. It is having the hybrid capabilities with Azure. So guys, you can manage your Windows, Linux physical servers and virtual machines hosted outside of Azure. Okay, so let us say Azure, it is a cloud service. If you have installed your servers outside of Azure, let us say you are taking the service of other service provider, that also you can manage with this hybrid capabilities. So you can manage your Windows, Linux physical servers and virtual machines hosted outside of Azure or on your corporate network or other cloud provided using Azure Arc services. So this Windows Server 2022, it is having one Azure Arc service. Using this Azure Arc service, you can manage your devices which is outside of Azure. And storage migration service makes it easier to migrate storage to Windows Server or to Azure. So it is having storage migration service as well, which makes it easy to migrate your storage either to Windows Server or to Azure. And guys, it is having improved server manager. What is this server manager? Server manager is used to add services like DNS, DHCP, file server, etc. So this is your server manager. Using this server manager, we can add the multiple services. So it is improved. It has customized dashboard which can be used to add the services on the local server and remote server. So guys, in our previous versions like Windows 2008, we can only install the services on the local server. Let us say you have two servers, S1 and S2. If it is Windows Server 2008, you can only install the services like DNS, DHCP, file server on this local server only. You can't install on the remote server. You need to go to this S2. Okay, you need to log on to S2 server and you need to install it manually. Whereas with Windows Server 2022, you can install the services on the remote server as well. Let us say it is a Windows Server 2022, and if you want to install the services on S2 from S1, you can install it. Okay, so it has improved server manager. It has customized dashboard which can be used to add the services on local and remote server. And Windows Server can be installed as GUI and CLI based, which means it supports both GUI and CLI operating system. If you want to install your Windows operating system as CLI, you can install it. If you want to install the Windows operating system as GUI, graphical user interface, you can install it. So in this example, you can see here, we have Windows Server 2022 standard evaluation. Here nothing is written, which means if you select this option, it will install the CLI operating system. And in the second option, Windows Server 2022 standard evaluation, desktop experience. Desktop experience means if you select this option, it will install the GUI operating system. So it is having both the options. Then Windows Server 2022 is having group policy management console as well. What is the use of this group policy management console? It provides the centralized management of user settings. So group policy controls what users cannot do on a computer. Okay, so you will install the Active Directory, and this Active Directory will have this feature GPMC. From this group policy management console, the administrator will control users, what they can do, what they can't do on a computer. For example, we can allow or block the USB and DVD drives for users. Okay, we have multiple computers in your network, and your company policy is that users should not connect the USB drive. So you will go to group policy management console and you will block the USB and DVD drives. Or you can hide the services like control panel, recycle bin on the desktop from a central point using group policy management control. Or if you want to set the same wallpaper on all the devices in your network, so you don't have to go to each and every device and set the same wallpaper, you can do it from a central point within few clicks. Okay. And it is having one more feature, backup and recovery. So using this backup feature, you can use Windows Server backup feature to backup a full server. You can take the backup of full server, which means all volumes like CD. Let us say you have multiple volumes on your server, C, D, E. You can take the backup of all the volumes, or you can take the backup of selected volumes. Like you want to take the backup of only C drive, you can do it. Or you can take the backup of a specific file. Let us say you have a file data in C drive. So you can take the backup of this C. So you can take the backup of this data folder, file or folder as well. And in case of disaster, you can recover the data as well. So you can use Windows Server recovery feature to recover full server, which means you can recover all the volumes. You can recover the selected volumes. You can recover the specific files or folders in case of disaster. And DNS server as well. So what is this DNS? DNS stands for domain name system. So what is this DNS? It is a phone book of the internet. Okay. When user type the domain name such as google.com or nytimes.com into web browser, DNS is responsible for finding the correct IP for those sites. Let us try to understand what is this DNS. So imagine guys, this is a Google server and the IP address of this Google server is 1.1.1.1. So we can access this server. You will open the browser and you will type the IP address. You will get the website. So using the website, we can access the web servers. But guys, we have millions of websites all over the internet, and it is not possible for us to remember the IP addresses of these websites. So instead of remembering the IP addresses, what you will do, you will assign the name to these IP addresses. You will map the name with the IP address. Like let us say google.com. The IP address of google.com is 1.1.1.1. It is mapped here. So you will provide this information to DNS server. Okay, DNS server will map google.com with 1.1.1.1. Now you want to access this Google website using the URL, using the name. So you will open the web browser and you will type google.com. So your request will not directly go to google.com. Your request will go to the DNS server. DNS server will check what is the IP address of this google.com. The IP address is 1.1.1.1. Then this DNS server will provide the IP address to your host, 1.1.1.1. Then this host will access this server using this IP address. Okay. Windows Server operating system is having one more feature called IIS, which stands for Internet Information Services. IIS for Windows Server is a flexible, secure, manageable web server for hosting anything on web, from media streaming to web applications. So guys, IIS is a web server for Windows environment. What is web server? If you want to host any website like Microsoft.com, YouTube.com, we need a web server. In Windows environment, we have IIS. We will install IIS or a Windows machine. Then we will host the website. We can host a video website or any web application. It supports different protocols like HTTP, HTTPS and FTP. Then it supports virtualization as well. So guys, virtualization is a technique that allows a physical machine to run multiple operating systems on a single physical system simultaneously by sharing its hardware. So guys, previously in olden days, we used to have a physical server. On this physical server, we used to install the operating system like Windows Server. On the top of this operating system, you will install the application. Let us say you have 10 applications. So you need 10 physical servers to install these 10 applications. The ratio is 1:1. If you have 100 applications, you need 100 servers. So virtualization has solved this problem. You don't need multiple physical server for multiple applications. What you will do, you will take one physical server and you will install a virtualization software. On the top of this virtualization software, you will create multiple virtual servers here. In this example, you can see we have created 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 virtual machine. On the top of these 6 virtual machines, we have installed the operating systems, and it is having one more feature called Windows Deployment Service. What is the use of this WDS, Windows Deployment Service? It allows an administrator to remotely deploy and install the Windows operating system on computer booting from the network. So guys, let us say you have 100 PCs and you want to, these are the new PCs, and you want to install the Windows 10 operating system on all these 100 computers. So you will have to go to each and every computer and you will install the operating system one by one, and it will take a lot of time. So let us say one PC takes 30 minutes. Okay, so each computer will take 30 minutes and around 3000 minutes you have to spend in installing the operating system on all the computers. So what this WDS will do, when you connect any PC, this is a WDS server. So when you connect any PC, this WDS will install the operating system on all the computers automatically. Okay, so it allows administrator to remotely deploy, install the Windows operating system on computers booting from the network adapter, and which saves your time. So it is having one more feature, DSCP. DSCP stands for Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol. Okay, so it is a network management protocol used on Internet protocol, which is IP networks, for automatically assigning the IP address and other communication parameters to device connected to the network using client server architecture. So guys, let us say you have some computers, you have hundreds of computers in your network. You have connected all these devices to a network, and we need to provide the IP address to all the computers. Okay, so you need to go to each and every computer and you will configure the IP address like 172. You are using 172.27.100.0 network. So you will go to each and every computer and you will type 172.27.100.21, 100.22, 100.23, 100.24, and so on. So guys, it will take a lot of time and you may make mistakes as well. So instead of configuring the IP addresses manually on all the computers, what you will do, you will configure the DSCP server, and you will configure this DSCP server, or you will train this DSCP server. You will tell that you should provide the IP addresses to the computers from 172.27.0.100.0 network, and the subnet mask will be 255.255.0.0, and let us say the gateway is 172.27.100.1, and you have the DNS server as well. So 172.27.100.50, let us say this is the DNS server IP address. So you will train this DSCP server to provide the IP addresses to the clients. And it supports Active Directory as well. What is this Active Directory? is a directory service that runs on Microsoft Windows Server, and the main function of Active Directory is to enable the administrators to manage the permissions and control access to users and other objects. So using Active Directory, we can manage the user permissions and other objects. Let us say, guys, you have some computers. So let us say this is the server where you have installed the Active Directory. It is connected with switch. Switch is connected with some computers. So it is PC1, PC2, PC3 and PC4. You are having 4 computers and there are 4 users. User 1, user 2, user 3 and user 4. So user 1 is using PC1 here. User 2 is using PC2. User 3 is using PC3. User 4 is using PC4. So you need to create the username and password locally to access this PC. So user 1 needs the user account in PC1. So administrator will create the username for user 1 in PC1. So user 1 can log on to PC1. User 2 will log on to PC2. User 3 will log on to PC3. User 4 will log on to PC4. Let us say next day, user 1 wants to log on to PC2. So he can't log in because in PC2, user 1 account is not there. So administrator again, he has to create the username and password on PC2. On next day, user 1 wants to access PC3 again. Administrator has to create the user 1 account in PC3 and PC4 as well. So it was about user 1, and user 2 also wants to access all the computers. So user 2 account should be there in all the computers. User 3 account should be there in all the computers. User 4 account should be there in all the computers. Okay. So administrator has to go to each and every computer and he has to create the 4 username and password. So we have taken the example of only 4 PCs here. Let us say you have hundreds of computers and hundreds of users. So administrator has to go to each and every computer and he has to create the 100 users in all the computers, which is a very tedious task. So instead of that, what you will do, you will install the Active Directory. In this Active Directory, you will create user 1, user 2, user 3 and user 4. If this user 1 wants to access the PC1, this PC1 will check the user account in Active Directory. If it is available, then PC1 allow this user 1 to log on. So again, this user 1 can go to PC2 and he can log on. Okay, he will enter his username and password. Again, you don't need to create the username and password on PCs here. We have already created the username and password on Active Directory. So this PC2 will check the username and password in Active Directory whether user 1 is available or not. If it is available, it will allow this user 1 to, okay, user 1 wants to access PC2, it will allow the user 1 to access PC2. So again, user 1 will go to PC3 again. PC3 will check the Active Directory, it is available and it will allow. So this is the use of Active Directory. And let us say you want to restrict this user 1 to only 2 PCs. This user 1 can access PC1 and PC2. He can't access PC3, PC4. So we can allow this user, okay, we can create the policy where this user can access only PC1 and PC2. And let us say user 3, you want this user 3 to access only PC3. You can do it from Active Directory from a central point. You don't need to go to the computers to make the settings. So this is the use of Active Directory, and we'll see the Active Directory in great detail. So Active Directory is a directory service that runs on Microsoft Windows Server, and the main function of Active Directory is to enable the administrator to manage the permissions, control access to users and other objects. And this active directory has recycle bin feature as well. Using it, deleted accounts and groups can be restored. Let us say you have created some users, user 1, user 2, user 3 and user 4, and you have deleted user 1 and user 2 by mistake. So it will go to recycle bin. From recycle bin, you can restore this user 1 and user 2 in few clicks. Let us see the hardware requirement to install the Windows Server 2022 operating system. The processor, we should have minimum one processor with 1.4 gigahertz, and it should be a 64-bit processor, and maximum it supports 64 processors. And if you are configuring if you want to do the virtualization, the processor should support virtualization technology. If you are purchasing Intel, it should be Intel VT. If you are purchasing AMD, it should be AMD V. And memory, if you talk about RAM, minimum you should have 512 MB RAM, which is not recommended. At least you should have 4 GB RAM. 4 GB RAM is recommended to install the operating system, and it supports maximum 4 TB RAM. And hard disk space, you should have at least 10 GB RAM. Again, it is not recommended. You should at least have 80 GB or greater space. You will see how to install the Windows Server operating system. There are multiple ways to install the operating system. So installation can be done by DVD. You will take the Windows Server DVD, you will insert that DVD into the DVD drive of the server, then you will power on the server. Server will detect this DVD and it will install the operating system. We can use the USB flash as well. You will save the operating system files on this USB flash drive. You will make it bootable. You will connect this USB drive to the server and you will power on the server. It will detect this USB drive and it will start installing the operating system. We will see how to install the Windows Server operating system. There are multiple ways to install the operating system. So installation can be done by DVD. You will take the Windows Server DVD, you will insert the DVD into the DVD drive of the server, then you will power on the server. Server will detect this DVD and it will install the operating system. We can use the USB flash as well. You will save the operating system files on this USB flash drive. You will make it bootable. You will connect this USB drive to the server and you will power on the server. It will detect this USB drive and it will start installing the operating system. Or we can use the ISO file to install the operating system. We will download this ISO file from Microsoft site and we will install it, and in our lab we are going to use the ISO file. In this section we will discuss about computer specifications for our lab. So you can have desktop or laptop, and the processor speed of your computer should be minimum 1.4 gigahertz. 2 gigahertz speed is recommended and it should support virtualization. RAM, so your computer should have minimum 6 GB RAM. 8 GB RAM is recommended. Hard disk, so your computer should have 30 GB free space in your hard disk. 50 GB free space is recommended. Operating system, you can use Windows 8 or Windows 10. Windows 10 is recommended. We'll verify the specification of my computer. So we'll go to this PC, right click, then we'll go to more, then we'll go to properties, and here if you see, the processor speed of my computer is 2.4 gigahertz and the RAM size is 32 GB and Windows operating system is Windows 10. Verify the hard disk free space, we need to go to this PC, double click on this PC, and if you see here 356 GB free space is available. After that, we'll verify whether my CPU supports virtualization or not. So we'll go to Task Manager. Under this Task Manager, we'll go to Performance. Under Performance, we will see virtualization is enabled here, which means it supports virtualization and virtualization is enabled. In this section, we will see software required for Windows Server 2022 labs. First, we need Windows Server 2022 ISO image, which can be downloaded from Microsoft website. This is the link to download the ISO image. And we need VMware Workstation software as well. So why do we need this VMware Workstation software? To create the virtual server. So guys, we are going to use the virtual servers to install the Windows Server 2022 operating system. These virtual servers are equivalent to the physical server. The functionality of this virtual server is equivalent to the physical servers, and we'll provide these links in our next section. In this section, we'll see how to download the Windows Server ISO image. We'll copy the link and we'll paste this link to this browser. And if you see here, we have got this option, Windows Server 2022 evaluation 180 days. So it is a trial version. You can use this ISO image for 180 days. Then we need to select this download the ISO option. Then we click continue. Then we need to provide the information like first name, last name, company size, job title, work email address, work phone number, country or region. Let us provide this information. Job title, system administrator. Then we'll click continue. Then we need to select the language, English. Then we'll click this download option. If you see here, the downloading is started and the size of this ISO image file is 5.2 GB. It will take a lot of time to download this file. So I have already downloaded this file. We'll cancel this download. Let me show you how the ISO image looks like. So it is already downloaded on my desktop. There is a folder called software. We'll click it. Under this software, we have ISO images. Under ISO images, we have a folder called Windows Server 2022. This is the ISO image of Windows Server 2022. In this section, we'll see how to download VMware Workstation and install it. First, we'll copy this link. Then we'll paste this link here. And it has started the downloading. If you see, 11 minutes are remaining. So we'll wait for the download to be done. So guys, the VMware Workstation is downloaded. We'll install it now. We'll double click on it. It is preparing for the installation. We'll click next. We'll accept the terms in the license agreement. Then we'll click next. We'll click next, 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 install. So it will install the trial version, which is enough for you to practice the labs. So VMware workstation is installed. We'll click finish, and you can see the icon on the desktop. You double click on it. So I want to try VMware workstation 16 for 30-day. Continue, finish. This is the interface of VMware workstation. From here you can create the virtual machine, or you can say you will create the virtual server. Guys, this is the interface of VMware Workstation, and here only we will create the virtual servers. After creating the virtual servers, we will see how to install the operating system. So let us create a virtual server or virtual machine. We'll select this first option and we'll go with the recommended setting, which is typical. Then we'll click next, and you will get three options here: installer disk image file, and I will install the operating system later. So you will select the third option, I will install the operating system later. We will create the virtual machine first, then we'll install the operating system. This is the meaning of this third option. Then we'll click next, and we are going to install the Windows operating system. Okay, so Microsoft Windows. And what is the version we are going to install? We are going to install Windows Server 2022. Okay, and this VMware Workstation, they have not updated their software. Okay, they have this option till Windows Server 2019. So we will select the latest version available on this workstation, but we will install Windows Server 2022 only. Okay, so you will select this option here, then we'll click next, and we will provide the path to this virtual machine. Where do we want to save this virtual machine? On your computer, on your local computer. So we'll go to C, we'll create one folder, new folder, and MCSE 7 PM batch. So we will save the virtual machines on this folder. Okay, under this folder we will create one more folder, and we'll provide the name to this folder as server-01. Okay, under this server-01, we are going to save the files of this virtual machine. Okay, and the name should be appeared here. Okay, it is showing new folder. Now it is showing server 1. Then we'll click OK. Then we'll click next. So we can provide the name to this virtual machine as well. So let us provide any meaningful name. Again, we'll provide the name as server-01. Then we'll click next, and the hard disk, it is selected 60 GB by default. Let us give 100 GB, and we will select the default setting. We'll go with the default setting, split virtual disk into multiple files. Then we'll click next, and here you will give you the information about what you have selected, like name server-01, and where you are going to save this virtual machine, virtual server. This is the path. Okay, and what is the version of this workstation? 16.x, and which operating system we are going to install? It is showing 2019, but we are going to install 2022 because it doesn't have the option 2022 here. We have selected the latest one, and hard disk space is 100 GB and memory is 2 GB. Okay, so you will get this information, and you will click OK, finish. You will click finish, and your virtual machine is created. You will get the virtual machine here, server-1. Now guys, and your virtual machine is created. You will get the virtual machine here, server-1. Now guys, we have the virtual machine. Let us say in real environment, we have the physical server, and we need to install the virtual machine. We need to install the operating system on this machine. So you will go to edit virtual machine setting option. Then you will select this CD DVD option, and we are using the ISO image. So you will select the second option, use ISO image file. Then we will browse. We have saved the ISO image on the desktop. We'll go to software folder, Under this software folder, we'll go to ISO images. Under this ISO images, we have Windows Server 2022. Okay, so we'll select that ISO image of Windows Server 2022, then we'll click OK. So we have given the path of that ISO image. Now we will power on the virtual machine. How will you power on the virtual machine? You will select this option, power on this virtual machine. Okay guys, so we'll select this Windows setup option. We need to select the language. So we'll go with English United States. We'll click next. Then we'll click this install now option. Okay, so you will get some options here like which version you want to install. Windows Server 2022 standard evaluation. Okay, this option is for the CLI based operating system. Then you have Windows Server 2022 standard evaluation and desktop experience. Desktop experience means it will install the GUI operating system. Then we have Windows Server 2022 data center evaluation. This option again, it will install the data center evaluation, but it will be CLI, not the GUI. And the fourth option is Windows Server 2022 data center evaluation desktop experience. So it will install data center operating system. Okay, we have seen it is having different editions. So data center edition and desktop experience means it will install the GUI. So we'll go with GUI, we'll install the data center GUI. Okay, we'll click next. So we need to accept the license agreement. Then we'll click next. And guys, the first option is to upgrade the operating system. Upgrade means you already have installed the operating system and you are upgrading it. And the second option is install the Microsoft servers, which means we are installing the server from the scratch. So we'll go with the second option because we need to install the operating system from scratch. Then where do you want to install the operating system? So you will click this drive 0. We have only one drive, so it has automatically selected this drive 0. Then we'll click this option new and we'll click apply. So what this option will do, it will create some partition, okay, supporting partition 1, partition 2. In these two partitions, it will save the supporting files. In the partition 3, it will install the operating system, and the size of this partition 3 is 99.9 GB, and this will be your C drive. Okay, so let us click next, and it will start installing the operating system. So it will follow these steps. It will copy the Microsoft Server operating system files. Then it will be getting the files ready for installation. After that, it will install the features. After that, it will install the updates. Then it will finish up the So guys, the installation is done. It is restarting the server. Okay. So this operating system will create one username administrator by default, and here we need to provide the password. So let us provide the password, and the password will be like capital M CSE123 hash dollar. This is the password. We need to confirm the password MCSE123 hash dollar. Same password. Then we need to click finish. Okay, then we need to log in to this computer. We need to press Control Alt Del to unlock. So how will you press the Control Alt Del on this virtual machine? You will click this option, send Control Alt Del to this virtual machine. Then we need to provide the password here. Okay, the password is capital MCSE123 hash dollar. Okay, then we'll click enter. Now this operating system is creating the profile for you. Profile is nothing but it is creating the space for you to work on this server. So guys, this is the desktop here, and on this desktop, if you see, it is having only one icon, recycle wheel. So let us set up the other icons. So how to set up the icons? You will go to start, right click, then you will select this settings option. Under this settings option, you will select personalization. Personalization, then you will select this themes option. Under this themes, you will select desktop icon settings, and you will check computer, users, file, network. Recyclable is already checked and it is available on the desktop, and you will check this control panel option. So you will get the other icons also on the desktop. We'll close, and if you see, it is having all the icons now on the desktop. And guys, if you observe one thing here, the screen is not full. Okay, it is having some stripes. Okay, why? Because we have not installed the drivers yet. We need to install the drivers also, and you will get the drivers from here. You will go to VM, then install VMware tools. So these drivers you will get from the VMware workstation. Then you will go to this PC. Then you will select this option. Now we'll click next, next, install. As if you see here, it is installing the drivers. Now we are getting the full screen. Are- Okay, it is installed and it required restart. We'll click finish, and after installing the tools, it will restart the server. Then let us log on to this server. The server is restarted. Okay, alright guys. So let us see what is the server name. By default, the operating system will provide a server name. Okay, let us see what is it. We'll go to this PC. Then we'll go to properties. This PC properties. Then if you see here, the device name is like Win B6 HIMM QQ 869. It is provided by the operating system. So we should provide any meaningful name. So how to rename this server name? You will select this option. Rename this PC. Then let us provide server 1. The name of the server is server 1. Then we'll click next. Again, if you change the server name, we need to restart the server. Alright guys, the server is restarted. Let us verify the name. We'll log on to this server. Then we'll go to this PC. Okay, we'll wait for few seconds. We should wait for few seconds after restarting the server. We should let the server settle down. Let us verify the name. We'll go to this PC, then properties. And if you see, the name is changed to server 1. So we have already created the virtual machine, and we have installed the Windows Server operating system, and we have set the icons, and we have installed the VM tools as well. And we have changed the server name, and let us create the user account for any administrator. We have, let us say, one administrator, and you need to create the username for him. You will use this command. You will go to command prompt and you will run this command, lusrmgr, local user manager.msc. So you will find two options, users and groups. So you will go to users. Under this users, we have administrator here, and we want to create one more user here. So you will right click here, new user, and let us give username as passive. Then Khan. And if you want, you can provide the description, and you need to confirm the password here. So we will provide the same password, mcse123 hash dollar, mcse123 hash dollar. For easiness, we are providing the same username and password, but in real network, you should provide the different passwords. And user must change the password in next logon. So we don't want the user to change the password at next logon. So we'll uncheck this option. Okay, and user cannot change the password. We will discuss about these options in our coming classes. So we'll select this create option and we'll close it. This username is created. Let us log on to the server using this new username. Okay, we'll sign out from this user. Then Control Alt Del. Then we can see the users are available here. So we'll select this Khan. Then mcse123 hash dollar. So guys, we are login to this server for the first time with this new user. So again, it will create the profile for this new user. Profile is nothing but it will create the space for this user to work on this server. So if you see here again, it is having only recycle bin on the desktop. We need to set the icon up. Okay, we'll go to settings. We'll go to personalization. Then we'll go to themes. Under themes, we have desktop icon settings. Then we'll check all the icons. Then we'll click OK. You can see all the icons here, and this is a folder for this user Khan. Okay, which means we have logged in with Khan. You can see on the desktop itself. In this section, we will discuss about IP address. As we have discussed, to form a network, we need the IP address. So what is IP address? It is a logical address assigned to all the devices in the network. So in this example, if you see, we have 4 computers, and all these 4 computers are having some numbers. These numbers are IP addresses. Okay, so it is a logical address. Logical address means we can change this IP address. And what is the use of these IP addresses? It is used to identify the specific device in the network. If you want to identify any device in the network, you will assign the IP address. And this IP address is used to make the communication between the devices here. It is like the mobile number. Mobile phones should have the mobile number for communication. The same way, computers should have the IP address for communication. And it has 2 versions, IP version 4 and IP version 6. IPv4 or Internet Protocol version 4 is a 32-bit IP addressing. 32-bit IP addressing means we will get 2 power 32 IP addresses with IP version 4, which is equal to 4.3 billion IP addresses. So this IP version 4, it was deployed in 1980s, and at that time 4.3 billion IP addresses were more than enough. But the network was growing very fast, and it was realized that there will be a shortage of IP addresses one day, and scientists have started working on the solution, and the solution is IP version 6. In IP version 4, the IP address has 4 portions. Each portion is separated by dot. So in this example, we have one IP address 192.160.7.1. If you see here, it is having 4 portions, 1, 2, 3, 4, and each portion is separated by dot here. If you take some more example, we have 192.168.1.1. Okay, this IP address is assigned to this computer, and it is having 4 portions, 1, 2, 3, 4, and each portion is separated by dot here. And it has 32 bits. So each IP address has 32 bits. So if you configure the IP address to any computer, the computer will convert the IP address into binary numbers. Binary numbers means zeros and ones. Okay, so this is the decimal number. Decimal number means 0 to 9. And we configure the IP address in decimal format, and computers convert the decimal IP address into binary numbers. So 192 will be converted to binary numbers, and it will be like 2 ones and 6 zeros. If you see, it is having 8 bits here. 160 will be converted to binary numbers, and the binary number of 160 will be 101 and 5 zeros, and it is having 8 bits. And 7 will be converted into binary numbers, and the binary number of 7 will be 5 zeros and 3 ones, and it is also having 8 bits. Then 1 will be converted into binary numbers, and it is having 7 zeros and 1. Again, the fourth portion is having 8 bits here. So if you add 8 plus 8, 16, 16 plus 8, 24, 24 plus 8, 32. So you will get 32 bits here in each IP address. In this section, we will see how to assign the IP address to Windows Server. We'll go to Control Panel first. Under Control Panel, we'll go to Network and Internet option. Under Network and Internet option, we'll select View Network Status and Task. Then we'll select Change Adapter Settings. Then we'll go to the adapter where you want to configure the IP address, right click, Properties. Then we will get this window. Under this window, we have 2 options: obtain an IP address automatically, use the following IP address. So we'll select the second option, and we'll configure the IP address. like 10.0.0.1, and the subnet mask is 255.0.0.0, and it is having some other options like default gateway, preferred DNS, alternate DNS. We are going to discuss all these options in our coming classes. Let us go to the server and assign the IP address. We'll go to the server one, then we'll go to control panel. Under control panel, we'll go to network and internet. Under network and internet, we'll select view network status and tasks. Then we'll go to change adapter settings. Under change adapter settings, we'll select the adapter where we want to configure the IP address. Then we'll right click. We'll go to properties. We will double click on internet protocol version 4. Then we'll select this, use the following IP address option. And guys, we are going to use 10 network. We'll configure the IP address 10.0.0.1 to this server 01, and the subnet mask will be 255.0.0.0. It is having some other fields like default gateway, preferred DNS, and alternate DNS. We are going to discuss all these different fields in our coming classes. So here we will see what is subnet mask. So when we configure the IP address, you will see one more field here which is called as subnet mask. Let us try to understand what is the use of this subnet mask. So let me show you in my computer as well. It is here. So when we try to configure the IP address manually, and you can see it is having subnet mask and default gateway. So let us try to understand what is the use of this subnet mask. Here, if I say the IP address of my computer is 192.168.1.1. So how will you identify that this IP address is having 3 network portions and 1 host portion? It is a class C IP address. In class C, you have 3 network portion and 1 host portion. So how will you identify? You will see this number, 192, and 192 belongs to class C, and in class C you have 3 network portion and 1 host portion. So as a human being, by seeing this first octet, we can easily tell that it is having 3 network portions and 1 host portion. But how the computer knows that this IP address is having 3 network portion and 1 host portion? We need to give the subnet mask. So when you configure class C IP address, you will give the subnet mask like this: 255.255.255.0, which means 255 means it is a network portion, and 0 means it is a host portion. So in class C, we have 3 network portion and 1 host portion, and the subnet mask will be 255.255.255.0. So this is the default subnet mask of class C. And in class B, we have 2 network portions and 2 host portions. So you can see, you will write the default subnet mask of class B like this: 255.255.0.0. In class A, you have 1 network portion and 3 host portion. So you will write 255.0.0.0. So what is the use of subnet mask? Subnet mask differentiates the network and host portion. 1 represents network portion, which means 255, and 0 represents the host portion. If you try to configure the IP address from class C, so let me configure the IP address from class C 192.168.1.1, and if I press tab button, it will take the default subnet mask automatically. You can see 255.255.255.0, because this IP address belongs to class C, and the default subnet mask of class C is 255.255.255.0. If I configure the class B IP address, you can see the subnet mask is 255.255.0.0 because class C is having two network portions and two host portions. If I configure the class A IP address and if I press tab, it will take the default subnet mask of class A, which is 255.0.0.0. So guys, in this section, we'll discuss about topology. We'll see what is topology first. So a topology is used to explain how the devices are physically connected in a network and the logical flow of information in the network. So in this example, we have Hyderabad LAN. In this Hyderabad LAN, we have three computers, one IP phone and one server is connected. And we have Bangalore LAN. In Bangalore LAN also we have three computers, one IP phone and one server is connected. And these two different LANs are connected with these two routers using WAN link. So this is the topology here, okay, which explains the physical connectivity of your devices. And there are two types of topologies. The first topology is the physical topology, and the second type of topology is logical topology. What is physical topology? Physical topology defines how the devices are connected physically, and logical topology defines the data flow from one computer to another computer. Okay, so this logical topology defines how the data flows from one computer to another computer. Physical topology describes the way in which devices are physically connected in the network, and there are different types of physical topologies like bus topology, ring topology, star topology. So these are the types of physical topologies. This bus topology. So in bus topology, the devices are connected to a single cable using T connector. So you will have one single cable and you will connect the devices. And it is called as bus topology and uses this T connector. This is the T connector and you will use this T connector here like this. If you see here, this is the T connector. Using this T connector, you have connected computer 1, then you have connected computer 2, then computer 3, computer 4 using this T connector. Okay, so what is the advantage of this bus topology? Required less cable. So using one cable, you are connecting all the devices, but it is having the single point of failure. This is a disadvantage. If one link goes down, okay, these computers won't be able to communicate the other computers. This is the disadvantage of bus topology. Let's try to understand what is this ring topology. In a ring topology, each device is connected with two devices on either side. So if you see here, let us say it is PC1. So PC1 is connected with two devices on the either side. Let us say it is PC2 and it is PC3. And this PC2 again, it is connected with two devices. It is connected with PC1 and let us say it is PC5. Okay, so in a ring topology, each device is connected with two devices on either side of it, and the structure forms a ring. So it is forming a ring structure here, and that is why it is known as ring topology. And the entire network will be impacted if one workstation is shut down. Let us say if this computer is shut down or it is having some issues, so the entire network will be affected if we use the ring topology. With the star topology, the computers have independent connection back to the central device. So let us say this is the switch here and all the devices are connected using this switch. Okay, so computers have independent connections back to a central device, for example hub or switch, and a cable break only impact the device connected via, okay, let us say cable is broken here, so it will impact this PC only, it will not impact the entire network. So this is the advantage of star topology, and nowadays we use star topology. A logical topology describes the way of data flow from one computer to another. So as we have discussed, it will describe how your data flows from one network to another, from one computer to another computer. In other words, it is a way in which devices communicate internally. So there are two different types of logical topologies in Windows environment. The first logical topology is workgroup model, and the second is domain model. This workgroup model is also called as peer-to-peer model, and domain model is also called as client-server model. We'll see the difference between these two different models of logical topology. First, guys, let us discuss what is this work group model. So as we have discussed, this work group model is also called as peer-to-peer model. So what is this work group model? What is this peer-to-peer model? Let us try to understand. So with this work group model, all the computers, whether it is a client or server computer, in the work group, they are called as peer. So we are using work group model, and we have some computers, let us say computer 1, which is having Windows 7, computer 2, which is having Windows 10, and computer 3 is having Windows Server 2016, computer 4 is having Windows 8, computer 5 is having Windows Server 2012. So we have some computers with Windows Server operating system. We have some computers with client operating system. Okay. So we are using workgroup model. So even we have installed server operating system, they are not considered as servers here. They are called as peer. And the computers with client operating system also, they are called as peer. There is no client, there is no server in workgroup model. All the computers, they are called as peer. And the communication is peer-to-peer. So all the computers in the workgroup are called as peer. There is no client. There is no client server concept in workgroup model. All the computers are considered equal here. The computers in workgroup mainly has its own local database where user accounts are saved. So guys, in workgroup model, all the computers saves the username and password on the local database. Okay, let us say on computer 1, user 1 is sitting. User 1 is using this computer 1. So you will create let us say you have created user 1 account and the password is 123. You have created the user account for this user 1. So this username, it will be saved in this local database of this computer. On next day, if this user 1 is using this computer 2, so he won't be able to log in because his username and password is created on computer 1 and it is stored locally. So again, you need to create the username and password for user 1 on computer 2. On third day, let us say user 1 is sitting on computer 4. Again, he can't log in to computer 4 because his username and passwords are created on computer 1 and computer 4. On computer 4, we need to create the username and password for user 1. Okay, so guys, we are taking the example of only one user here. Let us say you have hundreds of users and they are working in a call center. So in call centers, users can sit on any computer, okay, and they will log on to any computer and they will start working. Which means if you have 100 users, you need to create 100 username and passwords on each computer. Okay, so we have 100 users, you will create to each and every computer. Let us say 100 users and 100 computers are there. So you will go to each and every computer and you will create 100 username and passwords. Okay, after some times, let us say 10 users have resigned the company. So again, you need to go to all the 100 computers and you need to remove these 10 users from all the computers. Then 10 new users have joined the organization. So again, you will have to go to all the 100 computers and you need to create 10 username and password for the new users. This is a problem with work group model. Okay. So if any user wants to access the other computer, he needs to create the account in that computer, and data is saved on the local hard disk. So whatever the data you are saving, it is saved on the local hard disk. So this is the work group model. All the username and passwords are created on the local database, and if you want the other users to use the other computers, you need to create the username and password on other computers as well. Then guys, we have one more logical topology which is called as domain model. And this domain model, it is also called as client server model. And we can have more than one servers. Okay, so just remember this terminology. Domain model, it is also called as client server model. So the system administrators use servers to control the client in the network. So system administrator, what they will do, they will use this server. So let us say we have one server and we have two clients here. So system administrator will control these two clients from this server. Okay, and it has centralized database, and the database, it is entity.dit where the user accounts are saved. So this server, it is having the centralized database. Okay, we have user 1, user 2, user 3. So you don't need to create this username and password, this user accounts on the clients. What you will do, you will create the user accounts on the server. Okay, and let us say user 1 wants to use this computer 1. So what he will do, he will log in, he will enter his username and password, and the request will go to the server. Server is having the database. We have created the username and passwords on server. So server will check whether this user 1 is available in the database or not. It is available and password is also correct. Then it will allow this user 1 to use this computer 1. After some time, this user 1 wants to use computer 2. Again, he will log in. He will enter his username and password to computer 2. The request will go to server. Server will check the username, user 1 is available. Then this server will allow this user 1 to use this computer 2 as well. You don't need to create the username and passwords, multiple username and password on clients. You are going to create the username and password once, and it will be authenticated by server. So let us say take the same example. We have 100 users and we have 100 computers. So with this domain model, with this client server model, you are going to create the 100 users, 100 accounts on this server only once. You don't need to create this 100 users on 100 computers. You are going to create it only once. Okay, user 1, user 2, and so on. After that, as we have discussed, all the users can access all the computers now, and it will be authenticated by server. So 10 users have resigned your company, so you will delete these 10 users on this server. Okay, you will delete it, and 10 more users or 10 more employees have joined the organizations. So you will create 10 username and password on this server. You don't need to go to the clients. You can manage it centrally. Okay, so system administrators use servers to control the clients in the network. It has centralized database where user accounts are saved, and NTDS means New Technology Directory Service. DIT stands for Directory Information Service. This is the database on the domain controller. And if any user wants to access other computer, he doesn't need to create the account again. We can save the data in centralized server. And guys, Kerberos is a network authentication protocol. It is designed to provide the strong authentication for client server application by using secret keys. So let us say user one wants to log into this computer. Okay, so he will enter the username and password. The request will go to the server. Server is authenticating. So who is taking this username from client to server and server to client? There is a protocol called Kerberos. So with the help of this Kerberos protocol, this authentication is done. And Kerberos is a network authentication protocol. It designed to provide the strong authentication for client server application. So it is used for the authentication and it provides the security as well. So guys, we need to understand some terminologies. Okay, so the first terminology is domain. What is this domain? Domain is your logical network. Okay, so domain is a logical grouping of users, computers, and group objects to manage them centrally from the domain server. So domain, in simple words, it is your logical network. Okay, and domain should have the unique name. So when you are installing the domain, when you are installing this logical network, it should have the unique name, like ms.com is the name of your domain here in this case, and domain name is assigned by the DNS service. So guys, we have one service which is called as DNS service, and who is providing the name to our logical network? DNS service. Okay, DNS service provides a logical name to our domain. We will see, okay, we will do the lab and you will see that we will provide the domain name and it is provided by the DNS service. And guys, we have one more term which is called as domain controller. We have seen domain. Domain means logical network. Domain controller means which controls your logical network. Okay, from the name, you can understand what it is saying. Domain controller means the server which controls the domain. So to configure the domain model, we must have at least one domain server. So we must at least have one server to configure the domain model, and this domain server is called as domain controller. Okay, so here in this example, you can see we have installed one server. Okay, and this server will control your logical network, and this server is called as domain controller. Okay, so this is the physical server. Domain controllers are physical servers. And to make domain controller, so how will you make this server as domain controller? Okay, so it is not that you have installed the Windows server operating system and it will start acting like a domain controller. We need to do some configuration. To make this server a domain controller, we need to install a special service called ADDS, Active Directory Domain Service. So when you install Active Directory Domain Service on any server, it will become domain controller. So what is this Active Directory Domain Service? It stores the information of users, computers, groups, services, resources, etc. So it will store the information of users, computers, and other things of your network. Okay, and ADDS domain controllers also authenticates users and computer accounts when they log in. So who is managing? Who is authenticating the users? Okay, when any user wants to log into any computer, let us say user one wants to log into this computer, the request will go to this server. So who is authenticating the request? It is authenticated by the Active Directory Domain Controller. Okay, using Kerberos protocol. Domain model is suitable for small to large organization. So guys, requirement to install the domain controller. So we must have domain controller. Okay, so what is the requirement? Let us try to understand. We need physical or virtual server with Windows Server installed. So we have already created one virtual machine and we have installed Windows operating system. Okay, and it should be in work group. I will show you. Okay, the computer should be in work group. and server should be connected to the network. So server connectivity should be there, guys. So for connecting the server to the network, we need to configure the IP address. We need to configure the preferred DNS, and DNS service gets installed. So guys, this DNS service, as I told you, this DNS will provide the unique name to the domain. Okay, and this DNS service, it will get installed with ADDS. So to make any computer domain controller or DC, we need to install Active Directory domain service. So when we install the Active Directory ADDS, this DNS service will get installed automatically. Okay, and it is also called as DNS server. So guys, remember one point, we want to make one server as domain controller. So we need to install Active Directory domain service. So when we install ADDS, DNS server will be installed on the same machine. So this machine, it is called as domain controller, and the same machine, it is called as DNS server as well, because this DNS server is also getting installed with ADDS. So it is performing two roles by default. One is domain controller, and it is also your DNS server as well. We will see, okay, what is this DNS server in our advanced classes as well. As of now, just try to remember this point. When you install ADDS, the DNS server gets installed, and this server will act as domain controller, and it is also act as DNS server. Okay, so DNS server gets installed with ADDS. It is also called as DNS server. IP address and preferred DNS will be same. So let us say you are configuring the IP address 10.0.0.1 to this domain controller. Okay, it is having these options: IP address, subnet mask, default gateway. We have configured IP address 10.0.0.1, and we have one option here, preferred DNS server, because DNS service is already installed on this server. This server is acting as DNS server as well, and the IP address is 10.0.0.1. So IP address of this computer is 10.0.0.1. So the preferred DNS will be 10.0.0.1. Okay, you need to remember this point. IP address and preferred DNS IP address should be same on the domain controller. So we will configure 10.0.0.1 IP address and preferred DNS, and install ADDS manually. Then only this machine will act as domain controller, or then only this machine will act as server. So guys, as we have discussed, installing operating system is not enough. We need to install the ADDS to make this server domain controller. So let us see how to install the Active Directory domain Active ADDS service. Let us see the terminologies one more time. What is domain? Domain is a logical network. Okay, domain required a unique name which is provided by DNS service, and DNS service gets installed with ADDS. Then we have one more terminology which is called as domain controller. Domain controller, it is a server which controls the domain. Okay, domain controller controls the domain. Domain controllers control the logical network. Then we have ADDS. ADDS, to make a server domain controller, we must install a special service called ADDS. ADDS is a service. If you install this service, it will become domain controller. Once it becomes domain controller, it will control the domain. So we'll configure the domain controller. So guys, you need to remember one point here. When you configure the domain controller, DNS service gets installed automatically. So to configure the domain controller, we need to configure the IP address. And where will you configure the IP address? So we have already created one virtual machine. On that virtual machine, we have installed Windows Server 2022 operating system, and we have provided the name to that server as server 01. On that server, we will configure the IP address 10.0.0.1, and as we have discussed, when you configure the domain controller, DNS service gets installed. So the preferred DNS will be 10.0.0.1, same as IP address. Then we will install the ADDS. After installing ADDS, we will promote this server to domain controller. So guys, you need to remember this point. installing ADDS is not enough to make this server domain controller. We need to promote this server to domain controller after installing the ADDS. And the prerequisites: server with Windows Server operating system installed. So we have already installed Windows Server 2022 and must be in Workgroup. So guys, whenever you install any operating system, that server will be in Workgroup by default. To add or remove any service like ADDS, we must use Server Manager console. Let us verify if the server is in Workgroup or not. Then we'll configure the IP address. So first we'll go to server. Okay, so this is the virtual machine. On this virtual machine, we have installed Windows Server 2022 operating system, and by default, all the servers are in Workgroup. So how to verify? You will go to this PC, right click, properties, then you will go to advanced system settings, then you will go to computer name. Under computer name, you will see this server is in Workgroup and the server name is server-01. Let us configure the IP address. So we have decided to configure the IP address 10.0.0.1 and preferred DNS will be 10.0.0.1, same as IP address, because we are going to install the DNS service as well. So you will go to control panel, double click, then you will go to network and internet. Under network and internet, you will go to view network status and tasks. Then you will go to change adapter settings. Under change adapter settings, you will select the adapter where you want to configure the IP address. Right click, properties, then you will select internet protocol version 4, double click on it, and you will select the second option, use the following IP address. We'll configure 10.0.0.1. Then the subnet mask will be 255.0.0.0, and we are not going to configure the default gateway here because we don't have any router in our environment. Then we'll configure preferred DNS 10.0.0. Then we'll click OK. OK. Then we'll close it. Then you will provide it. Now guys, how to install ADDS? So you will go to Server Manager. All the services, they will be installed from Server Manager. So how will you open the Server Manager? You will go to Start and you will select this Server Manager option. Then you will select this option, Add Roles and Features. So before installing the ADDS, okay, if you see here, if you go to Tools, there is no Active Directory service available here. Okay, it is having like computer component services, computer management, disk cleanup. It doesn't have any Active Directory service. When you install the Active Directory, you will get all the services here. And guys, let us install this Active Directory. So you will select Add Roles and Features. Then you will click Next. And guys, here you have two options, role based or feature based installation. If you select this first option, it will install the roles on this current server. Let us say you have one more server like server 2 and you want to install ADDS on the remote server, on the other server. You will select the second option, remote desktop services installation. If you select this option, which means you are not installing ADDS or any service on this local server, you are installing the service on the remote server. So guys, we are installing ADDS on the current server, we'll select the first option. We'll click next. Let me take you back. Yeah. Now guys, here you will verify the server name. Is it correct or not? Server -01 and IP address. Okay. If it is correct, you will click next. And if you want to make any changes, you will select this previous option and you will change the server name or IP address, and again you will proceed with the installation. So it is correct. We'll click next. Then guys, here you will see the multiple rows. So you will select Active Directory Domain Services, ADDS. So when you select this option, it will ask you to add the features. When you add the features, this option will be selected. It is checked. Then we'll click next, 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 and we'll click install. So it is installing the Active Directory Domain Services. This is the role. Okay, we'll wait for a few minutes. Alright, so the service is installed. As we have discussed, to make this server domain controller, installing the service is not enough. We need to promote it to the domain controller. If you see here, promote this server to a controller. Installing the service is not enough. We need to promote it to the domain controller. If you see here, promote this server to a domain controller. So we'll click close here, and this is the notification center. Okay, you see this flag, and you see this yellow error here. So which means it is asking us to make some actions here. Okay, so what is that action? It is asking you to promote this server to a domain controller. Okay, so now guys, here once you click this option, let me close it and open it one more time. Once you click this option and you select this promote this server to a domain controller, you will get this window, and here you will get three options. Add a domain controller to existing domain. So we don't have any existing domain. Add a new domain to existing forest. So we don't have any existing forest. We will see what is this forest in our advanced classes. So we need to create a new forest here. Okay, let us select this last option, and we need to provide the name. So we have decided to provide the name ms.com. Okay, then we'll click next. And guys, here we need to define the forest function level and domain function level. Okay, and by default it has selected Windows Server 2016. So let us try to understand what is this forest function level and domain function level. So this function level, this option is useful when you have multiple Windows operating system versions available in your network. Let us say you have domain controller 1, okay, and this domain controller is used to control the logical network. So let us say this domain controller goes down. What will happen if this domain controller goes down? Users won't be able to log on to their computers. So what we will do, we will configure one additional domain controller or backup, you can say. If this domain controller goes down, users can log on to their computers using this domain controller too. Let us say you have installed domain controller 1 and you have installed Windows operating system on this domain controller 1, and domain controller 2 or additional domain controller is having Windows Server 2022. Okay, so if you install this Windows Server 2022 and you want to work with Windows Server 2012, so you need to select the functional level Windows Server 2012. If you select the latest version Windows Server 2022, it will not work with domain controller 1. Okay, so this option is useful when you have multiple Windows operating system versions available in your network. If you already have DC1 installed on Windows Server 2012 and you are installing DC2 on Windows Server 2020, if you select Windows Server 2020 now, it will not work with Windows Server 2012. So to work with Windows 2012, you must select the functional level as Windows 2012, but you will not get the latest features of Windows Server 2022. Okay, but you can later raise the function level to 2022. So let us say you are installing the Windows Server 2022 on this server and you have selected the forest function level 2012. So later if you want, you can raise the forest function level to Windows 2022. But if you have selected 2022 now, you can't reduce the, if you select the forest function level 2022, you can't reduce to Windows 2012 later. Okay, so this is the use of this function level. So guys, in our network we don't have any older version. We will go with the latest version, or let us go with Windows 2016, the default value. Okay, Windows Server 2016. And if you see here, it is DNS, it is automatically selected. It will install it automatically, and it is having one more option, global catalog. Okay, and we can't uncheck this option. Okay, so this global catalog feature is compulsory. Okay, when you are creating a new forest, we'll see what is the use of this global catalog feature in our advanced classes. Then guys, we need to provide the DSRM password, directory service restore mode. So what is this password about? Let us say you have installed the domain controller and you have created some usernames and passwords like user1, user2. Just 1 second. You have created some users like user1, user2, user3, and you have deleted all these users by mistake. Okay, and you want to restore this user, you can't restore. Okay, I'm just taking the example of users, but in Active Directory you will have groups, OUs, computer information. So if you delete the users, you won't be able to get these users back. So what you will do, you will take the backup. Okay, so you will take the backup of this database, user1, user2, user3. If it is deleted, and you will restore this backup. So while restoring the backup, it will ask you this password. Okay, so you should remember this password, and it is very rarely used. MCSC has $, and we'll click next, and it is saying that DNS is not installed, so it will do the installation. And NetBIOS name, you will get MS. Okay, the domain name is ms.com, so NetBIOS name will be MS. Now we'll click next. So guys, if you see here, it is having 3 paths here. Database folder, so it will save the database here, C, Windows, then NTDS. This is the database folder, and log files are saved in this NTDS folder. And this wall folder, it will have the, what do you say, the policies. Okay, so if you want to change the path, you can change the path. If you want to go with the default setting, you will click next. And if you see here, you will get this review your selection option. So configure this server as the first Active Directory domain controller. So guys, this is the first Active Directory domain controller in our network, and the domain name is ms.com, NetBIOS name is MS, forest function level is 2016, which means this server will work with Windows Server 2016. Okay, and global catalog, it has already automatically selected, and DNS, you can see it is installing here. And we'll click next now. And it is verifying the prerequisites for domain controller. It is checking whether this server is compatible with the domain controller or not. So if you see here, prerequisite checks passed successfully, click install to begin the installation. So we'll click install. It will install the domain controller. So it is waiting for DNS installation to finish. So if you see, it is waiting for DNS installation to finish. So it is installing the DNS as well. So it has installed the DNS and it will restart the server after the installation of ADDS and DNS. Okay, the server is restarted. Let us log on. After that, we'll verify whether this server is a domain controller or not. So if you go to tools, you will see the Active Directory services, Active Directory Administrative Center, Active Directory Domains and Trust, Active Directory module. Okay. And if you go to this PC, then properties, previously it was in Workgroup. Now you will see it is a part of domain ms.com. We'll go to advanced system settings. We'll go to computer name. Under this computer name, if you observe here, now it is saying domain ms.com. Okay, and still it is not confirmed whether it is a domain controller or not. We'll go to command prompt. Then we'll type this command net accounts. So if you see here, the computer role primary, which means this is the domain controller. Okay. So if you see this primary, and guys, we need to create two more virtual machines. Create virtual machines for member server and workstation. We'll see what is the meaning of this member server and workstation. So what we will do, we will create two virtual machines. On one virtual machine, we will install Windows Server 2022. On other machines, we will install Windows 10. Okay. So guys, you don't have only one server in your network, you will have multiple servers. So for multiple servers, we need multiple virtual machines. So we'll create two virtual machines now. We'll provide the path. We'll create one folder here and we'll provide the name as server2, server-02. Click OK. Then we'll provide the virtual machine name as server-02. Then we'll click next. So we'll go with the default setting. Okay, finish. Your virtual machine is created. Now we will install the operating system. Edit virtual machine settings. CD DVD. Use ISO image. Browse. Software. ISO image. And Windows Server 2022. Then we'll click OK. And we'll start the virtual machine. It is the same process which we have seen yesterday. You need to press any key, then Windows setup. Meantime, we will create one more virtual machine. We'll click next. I will install the operating system later. Next. Excuse me, guys. So we'll install the Microsoft Windows, but on this third virtual machine, we'll install Windows 10 operating system. So we need to select Windows 10 operating system. Then we'll click next. Again, we'll provide the path. We'll go to C. Then we'll create one folder. And we'll give the name to this folder as workstation 1. Okay, this name should be appeared here. Then we'll click OK. And we'll click next. So we'll provide the name of this virtual machine as well, like workstation 1. Then we'll click next, next, finish. Then we'll provide the path to the ISO image. So you can see the virtual machine is created. Edit virtual machine. Then we'll go to CD DVD, use ISO image file, and we'll go to desktop, software, ISO images, and we'll install this option. Okay, Windows 10, and we'll click OK, and we'll power on the virtual machine. So you need to press key, then it will start the installation. Now here, if you see on server 2, we are installing Windows Server 2022. We'll click next. We'll click install now. On Windows 10, we'll click next and we'll click install now. On workstation 1, it will install the Windows 10. On server 2, it is installing Windows Server 2022. So we'll go with Windows Server 2022 Data Center Desktop Experience. Then we'll click next. We'll accept the license agreement. Then we'll click next. And we are going to install the operating system from scratch. So we will select the second option. And here we'll click new. Apply. It will create the partitions for supporting files. In partition 1 and partition 2, it will store the supporting files. In partition 3, it will install the operating system. And this is your C partition. We'll click next, and it will follow these steps. Okay, it will copy the Microsoft Server operating system files, and it will get the files ready. After that, it will install the features. Then it will install the updates. Then it will finish up the installation. So let us go to workstation 1. Here it is asking for a key. So you will say, I don't have a product key. We are using the trial version, and we'll install Windows 10 Professional, and we'll click next. And we'll accept the license, and then we'll click next. Again, we need to install the operating system from the scratch. The first option is to upgrade the operating system. So we are not upgrading the operating system, we are installing the operating system from scratch. So we'll select the second option. We'll click new. It will create the partitions, supporting partitions. Then we'll install the operating system on the third partition. This will be our C. Then again, on Windows 10 also, it will copy the files. It will make the files ready. Then it will install the features. It will install the updates. Then it will finish. Okay, so Windows Server is installed and Windows 10 is also installed on this server, and we have promoted this server to domain controller. Then guys, before ending the class, what we have done, we have created two virtual machines. Okay, and in one virtual machine we have installed Windows Server 2022. On other virtual machine we have installed Windows 10 machine. Let us move forward. So topology will close it. Now guys, before moving forward, you should remember these terminologies. Okay, they are very important. Okay, if you know the difference between these terminologies, you will get the advanced concepts. Okay, so domain controller, as we have discussed, it is a server that controls the domain, which means the domain controller controls the logical network. And what is the domain? Domain is a logical network, and we have ADDS. To install domain controller, we must install a special service called ADDS. Okay, we have some other terminologies as well. We have some other terminologies. Okay, the first terminology is client. What is the meaning of this client? The machine which is joined the domain is called as a client. So we have a domain, okay, like ms.com, and you will, so these are the machines, they have not joined to the domain. Okay, when you join these machines to domain, they are called as clients. Okay, so client means the machine which is joined the domain, and there are two types of clients in the domain model. We have one member server. Okay, what is this member server? The machine which is joined the domain with server operating system installed. Let us say you have installed, you have one server and you have installed Windows Server 2022, and you have joined this machine with server operating system to ms.com domain. So it is called as member server because we have installed server operating system on this machine and we have joined this machine to ms.com. It is called as member server. What is the use of this member server? We will discuss it later. Okay, and if you see here the machine which is joined to domain with server operating system, it is called as member server. Example, Windows Server 2012, Windows Server 2022. And server operating system, it is an operating system that is designed to be used on server. Okay, you will take one server machine and you will install the server operating system. It is used to provide the services to multiple clients. So this server operating system is used to provide the services to multiple clients, and it can serve multiple clients at a time, and it is very advanced operating system. So this server operating system is used to provide the services to multiple clients, and it is very advanced operating system. Okay guys, so we have two types of clients. One is member server and we have workstation. This workstation, the machine is joined the domain with client operating system. Installed is called as workstation. So you have one computer, let us say you have installed Windows 10 operating system. So this Windows 10 operating system is a client operating system and you have joined the domain ms.com. Then it will become workstation. Okay, so you have two types of clients. One is member server, the other one is workstation. Member server, you will install server operating system on on a machine and you will join the domain, and you will install client operating system on a machine and you will join the domain and it will become workstation. Now guys, let us see when to install a member server. So we have seen that machine with Windows Server operating system installed, it called as member server. But what is the use? When to install this member server? So we have domain controller in our network. So this is a domain controller. Okay, and the IP address of this domain controller is 10.0.0.1, and the server name is server-01. So we already have one domain controller in our network, and our requirement is to install the servers like DHCP server, file server, print server, and web server. So we can install these services. We can install DHCP service, file server, print server, web server on this domain controller. Okay, but what will happen if you install all the services on the domain controller itself? Server performance will be reduced. And if one server goes down, all the services goes down. Okay, if this server goes down, DHCP, file server, print server, and web server, all the services goes down. So we can't install some applications like SAP and SAP on DC. So we have some services which can't be installed on domain controller like SAP. So this is the problem here. If you try to install all the services on domain controller. So what is the solution? The solution, so installing multiple services on domain controller is not a good idea. So instead of installing multiple services on domain controller, we will install them on separate member servers. Okay, you will take one server, you will install Windows Server operating system like Windows Server 2022, and you will install DHCP service. Then you will take one more server and you will install Windows Server operating system. Then you will install web service and so on. So each server will have separate service. So if this server goes down, it will not impact the other services. So instead of installing multiple services on domain controller, we will install them on separate member servers. So if one server goes down, it will not affect the other server. And what is the requirement to make the member server? System with Windows Server operating system installed like Windows Server 2008, 2012, or 2022, etc. And should be in Workgroup. And guys, we are going to configure the IP address from 10.0.0.0 network because we have already configured one IP address on domain controller from this network, which is 10.0.0.1. So we'll use the same network. Okay, we will configure the IP address from the same network. Okay, so this will be the IP address of member server. So this is a logical connectivity, and we'll configure preferred DNS as 10.0.0.1. So preferred DNS will be our domain controller IP address. Then we will join this machine to domain manually because it is in a work group. Okay, manually we need to join the machine to the domain ms.com. After joining the machine to domain, it will be called as client or member server. Okay, it will be called as client, and this client is having server operating system installed, so it will be called as member server. So system with server operating system installed is called as member server. So guys, our lab. So what we will do now, we'll configure the IP address and preferred DNS. Okay, so we have already installed one. We have created one virtual machine and we have installed Windows Server 2022. Okay, in our last class, before ending the class, we have created two virtual machines, and on one virtual machine we have installed Windows Server 2022. On the other virtual machine we have installed Windows 10 operating system. So now what we will do, we will go to these machines and we'll configure the IP address. So we'll configure the IP address. So we'll configure 10.0.0.2 IP address on this Windows Server operating system, and the subnet mask will be 255.0.0.0, and preferred DNS IP address PDNS will be 10.0.0.1. This is the IP address of our domain controller. Then what we will do, we will join the client or we will join the server to the domain. So in member server, no need to install the Active Directory. Okay. And you must visit all the machines and join them to domain manually. So this is the manual process, guys. And you will have to go to each and every computer. You will have to join all the machines to domain manually. We will see how to join the domain. Then we'll verify the things. Okay, whether it has joined to the domain or not. It has joined to domain ms.com or not, and we'll run this net accounts command as well to verify it is a server or not, member server or not. Okay, so let us do this lab first. So guys, this is our domain controller server 1. So what we will do now, we will change the name to DC or domain controller before moving forward. We'll click OK. And this server name is server-2. And we have just installed the operating system. Okay. And we need to provide the password. So automatically it will create the administrator username and we need to provide the password. So let us provide the same password, MCSE123 $, MCSE123 $. Okay guys, so after installing the operating system, we need to install the drivers. Okay, so how will you install the drivers? You will go, very good. You will go to VM, then you will go to install VMware tools. Okay, VMware tools will install the drivers. Okay, so this is the fresh installation. After installing the operating system, we didn't do anything. Let us log on to this machine. Okay guys, so we have logged on to this server and on the desktop we have only one icon. We need to set up all the icons. So how will you set up all the icons? You will go to start, right click, then you will go to settings. Then we'll go to personalization. Under this personalization, we'll go to themes. Under themes, we'll go to desktop icon settings. And here we'll check all the icons, computers, user files, network, control panel. Recycle bin is already checked here. So if you see the desktop, you will find all the icons. And guys, if you observe here, the screen is not full because the drivers are not installed or VMware tool is not installed. So we need to install the VMware tool and you will get the big screen, the complete screen here. Install VMware tools. Then you will go to this PC. Then you will go to DVD drive. You click next, next, install. So it will install the VMware tools. So guys, VMware tools are installed and we'll click finish and it will restart the computer. Okay, so let us click yes. So you can see we are getting the full screen now because the drivers are installed. Let us log on to this server. Now guys, what we need to do here, we'll configure the IP address. Okay, so the domain controller IP address is, the IP address of domain controller is 10.0.0.1. So we'll configure the IP address on this server as 10.0.0.2 and preferred DNS will be 10.0.0.1. This is the IP address of domain controller. Okay, and we'll change the host name as well. So by default, the server will provide the computer name. Okay, any random computer name. So we need to provide any meaningful name to the computer. We'll provide server dash 02. So first change the name of this server. How to change the server name? You will go to this PC, right click, properties. Then you will select this option, rename this PC. By default, this is the name of this server, win-214gme. So we need to provide some meaningful name like server-02. And we'll click next. So again, when you rename the computer, it required restart. Okay, so we'll select this option, restart later. Then guys, we have changed the name. After changing the name, we will configure the IP address. So you will go to search ncpa.cpl, and we'll go to network properties, IP version 4, and the IP address will be 10.0.0.2. Then the preferred DNS will be the IP address of our domain controller, because on this domain controller we have installed DNS. So this is the DNS server as well. So 10.0.0.1. IP address is configured. We'll click OK. Then we'll click close here. Now guys, what we will do, we'll join this server to domain. So if you see this network adapter, it is saying unidentified network. When we join this server to domain, you will see ms.com here. Okay, and here let us join this server to domain ms.com. So again, you will go to this PC, right click, then you will go to advanced system settings. Under this system properties, you will go to computer name. And guys, if you see here, this computer is in Workgroup. It has not joined to the domain ms.com. Okay, so we will join this server to ms.com domain. So how will you join? You will select this option change, and you will select this option. You will go to more. Okay, just 1 second, guys. What happened? Okay, no problem. First, we'll restart the computer. Okay, because the restart is pending, that is why we are unable to join this server to domain. It is restarted. Okay, we'll wait for few seconds. We'll let this server settle down. We'll go to this PC, right click, properties. Again, we'll go to advanced system settings. To join this server to domain, then you will select this change option. Now we can join this server to domain. Okay, we can select this option. Then we'll type the domain name ms.com. Then you will click OK. Then you will type the administrator username and password. administrator@ms.com. Password is mcse123 $. Then we'll click OK. Now it will contact the domain controller, and you can see it has this computer is joined to ms.com. It is welcoming us, welcome to the ms.com domain. Then we'll click OK. And again, after joining any computer to domain, we need to restart that computer. So let us restart it. This computer is restarted. after joining the domain. Let us verify whether it has joined the domain or not. So we'll wait for a few seconds. Let us verify. So we'll go to this PC, right click, properties, and if you see here, full device name is server-2.ms.com. And if you see whether it has joined the domain or not, again you will go to advanced system settings, then you will go to computer name, and if you see here, previously it was showing Workgroup, now it is showing domain.ms.com, which means it has joined the domain now. And how will you verify whether it is a domain controller or member server? So you will go to command prompt, and net accounts. So when you type this command, if it is a member server, you will see server here, and if it is a domain controller, you will see primary. So let me show you. Net accounts. Okay, primary means it is a domain controller. If you see server, which means it is a member server. And on member server, you don't need to install the Active Directory. You don't need to promote the server as a domain controller. Only you need to join the server to the domain. That's it. Okay, guys. So we have done this lab. We have configured the IP address and preferred DNS. We have verified the IP address. Let us verify the IP address. What is the IP address? Using ipconfig command. So this is the IP address we have configured 10.0.0.2. And we can check the connectivity as well. So we should check whether it is pinging or not. So we'll go to 10.0.0.2 and ping 10.0.0.1. So it is getting the response as well. Okay, then we have already joined the client to the domain. After that, guys, when to install the workstations. We have seen when to install the member server. Now let us try to understand when to install the workstation. So workstations obtain the services from the member server like DHCP server, file server, print server, web server, etc. To access these services, you need a machine with client operating system installed. So these are the client machines, and they will take the services from the server. Okay, and if you purchase the same operating system in bulk, you will get the discount from Microsoft. So let us say you want to install the workstations. Okay, you have hundreds of computers and you want to install the client operating system, all those hundreds of machines. So what you will do, you will purchase the same operating system in bulk, like Windows 10. All the hundreds of machines will get installed Windows 10 operating system. If purchase the same operating system, you will get the discount from Microsoft. And you will get one more advantage of purchasing the same operating system. Let us say if you get an error in one machine, the same solution will be applied to all the machines. Okay, if the operating systems are different, the solutions will be different. So from here, you will install this is the link to install the Windows client operating system or Windows 10 operating system. Okay, so the requirement system, we need to join the workstation to domain. Now we have joined the member server to domain. Now we will join the workstation to domain. So what is the requirement? System with Windows client operating system installed, like Windows 7, Windows 8 or Windows 10, and should be in workgroup, and we will configure the IP address 10.0.0. Let us configure 10.0.0.20. Okay, so we'll configure the IP address from the same network and it will form the logical connectivity, and preferred DNS will be 10.0.0.1. After that, we'll join the machine to domain manually because it is in workgroup. After joining the machine to domain, it will be called as client, and the system with client operating system, it is called as workstation. Okay, so guys, we need to configure the IP address and preferred DNS. Then we'll verify the IP address using ipconfig command. Then we'll ping the domain controller. Then we'll join the workstation to domain. Okay, so we have already installed the Windows operating system yesterday. In our last class, we have created one virtual machine and we had installed the Windows 10 operating system and we had given the name to this virtual machine as workstation 1. Now what we will do, we will log on to this computer and we will install the drivers. After installing the drivers, we'll configure the IP address from 10.0.0.0 network. Preferred DNS will be 10.0.0.1. Okay, after that we'll join the domain and we'll change the computer name as well. So we had just installed the operating system. Okay, and now it is creating the profiles for you. Okay, and it is doing some settings here. It is making the system ready. So guys, we are setting up the Windows 10 operating system for organization. So we'll select the second option. Then we'll click next. And you will select this option, join domain instead. And you will provide the name here. Then you will click next. The password, so we'll provide the same password. MCSC 123 hash dollar. And we'll confirm the password MCSE 123 hash dollar. Then we'll click next. And we need to provide some security questions, answers here. Okay. It is like, where were you born? So Hyderabad. Next, click. Second security question, nickname, Asif. And the third security question, pet name, anything. We'll click next. Just 1 second. We need to accept. So this Windows 10 takes a lot of time. Servers are not taking much time here. So guys, any doubt till here?
No. No, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Alright guys, so let us set up the icons first. We'll go to start, right click on start, then settings, then we'll personalization, we'll go to personalization, then we'll go to themes, desktop icon settings, then we check the icons. All the icons are available here. Now guys, we'll change the name and we'll install the tools. Workstation 1. We'll click next. Restart later. Then we'll install VMware tools. Next install. Finish and we'll restart the computer now. It is restarted. Let us log on to this machine. Okay, so let us configure the IP address on this machine from 10.0.0.0 network. So we'll configure any IP address. Let us configure 10.0.0.200 and preferred DNS it will be 10.0.0.1. We'll click OK and we'll verify the IP address. The IP address is 10.0.0.200. We'll ping the domain controller 10.0.0.1. It is pinging. Okay, so so it is not the part of domain. Let us join this computer to domain. Then we'll verify. We'll go to properties. Then we'll go to advanced system settings. Then we'll go to computer name. Under computer name, select this change option, domain ms.com. Then we'll click OK. Administrator @ You are currently offline. Okay. Administrator. You need to select English US @ms.com. Then password MCSE123 $. Then we'll click OK. Again, we need to restart this machine. Okay, let us verify this computer has joined the domain or not. We'll wait for a few seconds. We'll go to this PC, properties, advanced system settings, computer, and you can see it is a part of ms.com domain. Okay, and if you go to command prompt and you will type net accounts, it will show you workstation. Okay, it is a workstation, it is a member server, and this is the domain controller or primary. Okay, so we have successfully done all these labs. Okay, so now guys, you might be thinking, why can't we use the server operating system for workstation? Why these different operating systems? So you have hundreds of computers, and if we install the server operating system on all the hundreds of computers, you need to pay a lot. They are very expensive server operating systems, and it will be difficult for users to manage the server operating system. Okay, so and why can't we use the client operating system for member servers? Okay, so this client operating system, it is a basic operating system which doesn't have the advanced features like server operating system, but it is an user friendly operating system and it is cheap, which has enough features to access the services from server. So that is why we don't use